So before we begin, I would love to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land we are gathered on today, the Wurundjeri and the Bunurong people of the Kulin Nation. Pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. Okay, so we are here to read some late night sexy or non-sexy stuff. Woo! Today I was here and it was very packed at the back and people were wearing their bags and I felt really bad for them because I was worried that their arms were getting very, very tired. If you are at the back and your arms get tied with your bag, try like a daddy penguin. Just put it between your feet like you're on the tram. Okay. And because it's a sexy night, I thought I'd wear one of my sexiest outfits that are as appropriate to wear outside.
Wow!
Look at that back!
Bam, bam.
Bam! It's so tight! Bam!
Boom!
Bam!
Drink.
So, Joan Didion once wrote, "We tell ourselves stories in order to live." EWF invited 6 artists, and me included, I'm an artist, to read, to read a short scene of quote from a literary work that has shaped their idea of love, romantic, familial, friendly, or otherwise. In a kind of literary sex ed, these artists trace and articulate the influence of literature on their perception and practice of love. Ooh, scary. Who likes love? Hands up if you like love.
Yeah!
Sometimes I'm like, no. Sometimes I'm like, yeah. I guess it really depends on what kind of love. All right, so essentially all the artists are gonna, we all chose our own quotes, and it's going to be up on the screen behind us, and we've written this, we're going to respond in however we respond in our own artistic way to the quote that we chose ourselves. We chose it ourselves, all right? So we had to stand by it. So I'm going to do mine first. Yes, I am on first. Good. All right. So if anyone, I think there's one more row. If anyone needs to sit down, be comfortable.
Come on.
And also it means there'll be more people able to see at the back because when it's packed, it's hard to see. And everyone's sitting down with their friends. Boom, great. Boom, shake the room. Great jacket. All right. Okay, so my quote. There we are. But who was the man I really wanted? All I knew was that I'd been desperately searching for him from the age of 16 on. That's from Fear of Flying by Erica Jong. All right. I'm a horny gal. Always have been. I remember being in grade prep and walking around my primary school staring at all the older girls and marveling at the fact that they also had a vagina. Couldn't stop thinking about it. When I was a teenager, I was so damn horny, but I didn't know where to place it. My horniness, I mean. I'd get that like heartbeat in my undies at the drop of a hat. Sound of a skateboard, heartbeat in my undies. The priest at the Catholic Church my parents forced me to attend every Sunday was speaking Italian. Oh, heartbeat in my undies. An overcrowded bus in winter. Oh, heartbeat in my undies. That first example, the sound of a skateboard, was quite the killer, the most Pavlovian. Probably because those sticky, stinky dudes who skated grew their hair longish and loved the bong, but never me, was where I placed my horniness. Overwhelming is a word I used to describe my horniness back then. You know that fact of men reach their sexual peak at age 18 while women at 35? Like, where did that come from? I first heard it from Melina Machetta's Looking for Ala Brandy, which is a fucking great book. But, like, I mean, I don't even know what a sexual peak is. Like, is it a fuck hill? Is it a hill that you fuck on? Get grass up your butt. I recently got a cool new job doing the Instagram for Durex, as in condoms. Yeah. I can now say proudly that I work for the Dinger department, the Franger Force, the Johnny jurisdiction. When I told Izzy, the director of this year's EWF, about my Dinger job, she laughed and said how completely on brand it was for me. I'm proud. But as part of my job, I was given the stats and findings of this huge sex survey that Durex conducted with Vice Media last year. And so I can tell you that neither gender nor age dictate how horny you actually are. I wish I'd known this as a teenager, because I had an atrocious sex education at the Catholic school I went to. Surprise! I wasn't even taught how to put a condom on, let alone what a dental dam is or what symptoms show if you got chlamydia. Still don't know. Only the bottom science class was taught the condom banana thing. I guess they thought the top science class were too nerdy for sex. Anyway, my own sex ed I conducted myself was either through my own DIY slutty efforts or through my porn. My porn consisted of two things. One, a poster of Heath Ledger circa two hands, the year 2000. He's got these really fantastic cum gutters. And does everyone know what cum gutters are? That bit.
The V.
The V, the cum gutters, they're there. You can also see his pubes, just the top bit. I was going to actually bring the poster tonight, but I left it at my friend's house and she still had it. And I was like, oh. I got the poster in the National Portrait Gallery in Canberra. They sell porn there. The other bit of my porn is, of course, Wikipedia. Specifically, any page on Wikipedia that has any kind of sexual nature to it, which is how I found out about Erica Jong's fear of flying. I was probably mazzing to the feminism page and got lost through the rabbit holes that Wikipedia takes you down. Erica Jong's, I looked up on the internet, it said Erica Jong, but I go to say Erica Jong, but the internet says Erica Jong. Anyway, I've never met her, so I can't ask her. Erica Jong's book was pretty seminal, according to Wikipedia. It was published in the early 70s, and it both encouraged women to leave their loveless marriages and also coined the phrase zipless fuck. A phrase which I'm sure no one has said out loud since 1976, other than referencing fear of flying, like right now. A zipless fuck is a consensual, sexy encounter with a stranger, and neither of you exchanged neither names nor details. Ooh. I was 16 when I read the Wikipedia entry on zipless fuck, but actually I only got my grubby, horned-up paws on a copy of that book this year at one of my other jobs. I work at that weird, cheap bookshop, you know, the book grocer. Woo! Yeah, I work there. Actually, the other night I was finishing work, and then these three people came in. They bought some books, and then I ran up to the poetry night here, and then they were there. They're like, "Oh, hey!" And I was like, "Oh, hey! Did you enjoy your book purchase?" Anyway, so I was reading Erica Jong's Fear of Flying, heartbeat going off in my undies, when I read that quote that I said at the start about searching for an unknown man since I was 16. I felt a bit shocked because I felt like she was describing me, except, changed the gender from man to person because I'm bisexual, baby! As you can check, I did actually write lots of A's and Y's and E's at the end of baby. Anyway, I guess what I'm saying is, does anyone want to go on a date? I don't have enough time for a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a partner, but I do love sneaking in beers to the movies and pashing on. And I guess that's all I've ever been searching for since I was 16. Someone to sneak beers into the movies with and make out in the shed that I live in. I live in a shed. Next up we've got the wonderful other artists in the piece. So first up, we've got Natasha Hertanto. Natasha is a writer, education assistant at the NGV, and a model repped by Just Coup. A model! We've got a model here! It's fucking cool! She recently left the game writing industry to focus on finishing her novel. Her visual poetries and personal essays have been published in Botanicals, Brain Drip, Glass House Magazine, and Penciled In. She is a fierce advocate for feminism, accessible and quality education, mental health issues, LGBTQ+, and diverse representation. Though born in Indonesia, she considers Melbourne her one true love. Welcome, Natasha!
Will it be super complicated if I sit down, or is that fine?
Sit down.
Hi everyone, is this fine? Yes, cool. Okay, is my quote? Yay, it's a sad quote. Aw, yeah. The louder the aw, the better. It says, I turned myself into a victim of my own romanticization. And this is by a poet. She's based in LA, and she's pretty cool. Okay, so I'm Nat, and like Claire mentioned, I've recently very amicably parted ways with Pixelberry Studios, which is a narrative gaming company based in San Francisco. And in short, that means that all the things that I'm about to tell you, which would have been a breach of my NDA, is no longer a breach of my NDA. So for 2 years, I was a writer for their Choose Your Own Adventure mobile app called Choices. And oh, does anyone play it? Sweet. Okay. They're nice people. I have nothing against them, by the way. So the game itself, for those who don't know, is a library of visual books, and the chapters are uploaded weekly. So if we were in a Choices chapter, right now this thing would be free, but then I might come up to you after and say, hey, do you want to get a drink? And then you'll have to pay $2.40 to get a drink with me. And if you do, then the money will get charged to your card, and the plot will change, and our relationship within the book will change as well. If you go to Dimmix or Readings or Book Dep, a paperback fiction book currently costs about $20, $30, unless you go to the book grocer, which is a whole other story. But when you complete a Choices book of about 16 chapters and purchase all the premium diamond scenes, it would cost about $115.2 per book, which has nothing to do with anything else I'm about to talk about. But as a writer, I thought that was really wild. So every week, the top 10 most purchased diamond scene makes it to what we call the diamond leaderboard. And unless your book is in that leaderboard, you can't access the fucking document. But because my team was so incredible, I got access for about a year and a half. And it was like a sociologist's gold mine, a map of human desire, behavior, and spending patterns. Because I noticed that even though the books on the list kept changing, the scenes that made it to that leaderboard was consistent. If we take out weaponry, vengeance, revenge opportunities, people are so fucking petty, like I'm just gonna tell you that. And friendship scenes were left with the romance, more specifically 3 types of romantic scenes. We're entering heavy NDA breach territory now. In no particular order, the first type is, to no surprise, sex scenes. I was assigned my first sex scene 2 weeks into the job, and the brief that my boss sent read, setting, a close speakeasy bar that the love interest owns. And I was like, yes, okay, this is cool. Time, night, past midnight, still cool. Love interest, a superhuman who can turn bronze from head to toe. And then he attached this animated image of a life-size Academy Award statue. That's what he looked like. He was still gorgeous though. Wearing a tacky boxer with a rose stem on his lip. And the animation was winking, like. And the last thing you want to do 2 weeks into a new job is talk to your boss about bronze penises and lube. But like, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? So, yep. And the second scene type is best described as fluff, which is the will you marry me under the Statue of Liberty, the let's go to a sunrise picnic in a hot air balloon, or would you like to swim in this glow-in-the-dark pool with questionable hygiene in the middle of an enchanted forest? And in these fluff scenes, as the writers were pushed to write love interests that court you and comfort you and basically try to make you fall in love with them. And the readers do. They fall so freaking hard, and a quick Tumblr search about any choices love interest will come up with an insane amount of fan fiction, fan art, all that jazz. And love is the only explanation I can think of as to why the highest grossing third scene is where the love interest experiences distress. So people literally pay $2.40 to listen to these characters whine and get angry and frustrated and heartbroken, and to know their regrets and mistakes and fears again and again and again, adding up to an obscene amount of money, just because a bunch of pixels on a screen said, I can't talk about this to anyone else, or I really need you here with me. My university tutor used to laugh when my friends and I said we didn't want a 9-to-5 job, because writing, she says, is a 24/7 job. It bleeds into your life, whether you like it or not, whether you intended it or not, and whether you realized it or not. I didn't realize at all how much this job has toyed with me until I went on dates and a diamond choice would pop up next to my date's face. 15 diamonds to kiss this cute guy as you reach the train station. 20 diamonds to buy another round of drinks for this quirky girl at the arcade. Taking my own understanding of relationships, which was already so highly romanticized to begin with, like fucking Disney, is to blame here. And producing a variation of it into small packages and then slapping price tags on them. It's a commodification of love. And in the last 2 years, I've sadly become pretty good at it. Of course, in real life, the diamonds are not actual diamonds. They're temporal, financial, emotional investments. Is this person worth my time? Are they worth the money that I'm going to spend on dinner dates and movies and gifts, etc.? Are they worth the potential heartbreak? And how many diamonds should I spend on someone who promises a chance at love? Oh, none. 35. $115.2 for 16 weeks of romance. Less than I know other people might spend, or more than I dare to admit. Quantifying love is such a dangerous marker of detachment, but it's something that I experience constantly in the dating landscape. And it's not just me assessing them, but it's them assessing me and my worth, continuously and often unforgivingly. But when we go back to the diamond leaderboard, the substances that define love are reflected so simply back to us. Sex scenes, intimacy, or one of the many forms of intimacy and connection. Fluff scenes, the juxtaposition between newness and comfort. Doing new things, whether it's a small change or a grand gesture, even with someone familiar. And then again, we're back to the characters in distress. It took me an alarmingly long time to figure out that, like everything I struggle with, the answer is my least favorite word in the entire English dictionary. Vulnerability. And yes, friends, I hate that word more than moist. All of this is incredibly ironic because I write love stories for a living. It's really difficult for my perfectionist brain to process that people don't pay $2.40 to feel sad or to feel heartbroken, but they pay in spite of it. Because a relationship solely built on intimacy and adventure is just fantasy, right? And it doesn't feel real without the hardship. And there's so much to freaking unpack on the fact that real people are turning to pixelated people for real love. But if this set of data that I've snuck out from my company is a reflection of what constitutes as romance, then it would mean that in our capitalistic, creatively messy digital age, love is still so freaking plain, disappointingly plain. Love has never, will never, does not need romanticizing when it's real. I'll say that again. Love does not need romanticizing when it's real. And it's something I'll do good to remember the next time I ask someone, can I buy you a drink? Thank you.
That was awesome. All right. So now we've got Darlene Silva-Soberano. Darlene is a Filipino poet. Their work has appeared in Mascara Literary Review, Australian Poetry, and Cordite Poetry Review. They were also a participant in Toolkit's Poetry with Express Media in 2017. So give it up for Darlene!
Hi, everybody. I'm reading the room, and there's a lot of laughter in this room, and I apologize in advance because my piece is neither sexy nor funny. It's just it's just all vulnerable. Yeah. It's so lovely to be here, and I hope that you've had a good day today, and that this event marks a good note to end for you guys. Today, I'm reading from the opening passages of Jeanette Richardson's novel, Written on the Body. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Why is a measure of love loss? It hasn't rained for 3 months. The trees are prospecting underground, sending reserves of roots into the dry ground, roots like razors to open any artery water fat. The grapes have withered on the vine. What should be plump and firm, resisting to the touch to give itself in the mouth, is spongy and blistered. Not this year, the pleasure of rolling blue grapes between finger and thumb, juicing my palm with musk. Even the wasps this year avoid the thin brown dribble. Even the wasps this year. It was not. I am thinking of a certain September. Wood pigeon, red admiral, yellow harvest, orange night. You said, I love you. Why is it that the most unoriginal thing we can say to one another is still the thing we long to hear? I love you is always a quotation. You did not say it first, and neither did I. Yet when you say it and when I say it, we speak like savages who have found 3 words and worship them. I did worship them, but now I am alone on a rock hewn out of my own body. Caliban said, you taught me language, and my prophet aunt is I know how to curse. The red plague rid you for learning me your language. Love demands expression. It will not stay still, stay silent, be good, be modest, be seen and not heard. No, it will break out in tongues of praise, the high note that smashes the glass and spills the liquid. It is no conservationist love. It is a big game hunter, and you are the game. A curse on this game. How can you stick at a game when the rules keep changing? I shall call myself Alice and play croquet with the flamingos. In Wonderland, everyone cheats, and love is Wonderland, isn't it? Love makes the world go round. Love is blind. All you need is love. Nobody ever died of a broken heart. You'll get over it. It'll be different when we're married. Think of the children. Time's a great healer. Still waiting for Mr. Right, Miss Right, and maybe all the little rights. It's the cliches that cause the trouble. A precise emotion seeks a precise expression. If what I feel is not precise, then should I call it love? So I first read Written on the Body as a PDF on my iPhone 4. It was December 2013, and I was 16 years old. I was at a 3-day camp for my Catholic Filipino youth group, and I was so arrested by the book that I finished it over the next 3 days while I was still like participating in the camp as a facilitator and as a guitarist. The question of why is a measure of love lost really just took over my mind, because until the beginning of 2013, I'd been deep in the closet. And until coming out, I really didn't have any hope that I could love someone without a sense of loss, being attached to that love. And the history of queer love really is something that is punctuated with loss, and that's real. Then in that next year, in 2014, I met this woman, and she lived in Sydney, and we became really good friends that year. And she was really the first person that I had a crush on that I told everybody about. My best friends knew, my youth group knew. They were actually the first community, funnily enough, that made me feel safe about my sexuality. I even told my mother about my crush on this woman, and I'm really someone like who is shy around my mother. So the year after that, in 2015, this woman was going to go, she was leaving Sydney and she was going to go back to the Philippines. So naturally, I booked a flight to Sydney to say goodbye to her right after I graduated year 12 and like right before I went to schoolies. Sydney is actually where I bought this physical copy of Written on the Body. So the book also contains feelings about her, because I thought I could not survive the loss of our connection. And we lost touch anyway, over time I lost her anyway. And the truth is that I lost her because it's hard to maintain a friendship all your time concealing your feelings for that person. Like Jeanette Winterson's love demands expression. And I'm reflecting on it now as an adult who has worked to develop areas in myself to hold not just the feelings of love, but also the complications of human relationships. Back then in 2014, 2015, I was a kid and I didn't want to face the awkwardness and embarrassment and emotional risk that comes with love, because I had measured the love that I felt for that person and came away with insurmountable loss. Why did I not think that I could survive this? Why did I believe in my expression of love would result in loss? I ask myself these questions now, and it has become more ridiculous to me that I didn't tell my friend about those feelings. But I was someone else back then, and that was years ago. And long after that, I fell in love for the first time, and I cried about being in love with that person because I finally had the space in myself to cry about the things that mattered to me. My practice of love has changed from person to person, but I think I still come back to this question of why is a measure of love lost? But I don't think I need to answer the question anymore, because I have decided that loss is a part of love, but I no longer believe that it is the measure of love. On an ending note, I'd like to say that if you're interested in someone who's your friend, or if you're in love with someone who's your friend and they don't know about it, I really hope that you tell them. Like, I really, really do. if you needed a sign to do it, this is it. Like, I promise you will survive whatever happens. Thank you so much.
That was beautiful. Holy shit. We are now going to go on a 5-minute break. But before you go, I need to say some very important things. This event tonight is sponsored by Archer, and we have, yes, and everyone here gets a free copy of Archer magazine. Yes, free magazine, and it's like a fucking great magazine. There's a photographer in here who I love, Shelley Horan. She takes photos at I go there every Thursday. You know, Honcho. That's it. Yeah. Fucking love Honcho. She takes photos of the artists at Honcho for like a year, and then she had this beautiful exhibition. It's so there's so much good shit in here. Anyway, so get one. Everyone here gets one. Second important thing. Tonight is the night, as you said earlier, to tell the person you love that you love them. And the best way to do that is through a love letter. We actually have a love letter thing at the back where you can write a letter to your love. You can sign it anonymously and peg it on a clothesline that I've been assured by Jim is down the back somewhere. I'm unsure if Jim is going to read out the letters or not. So definitely, if you're worried about that, sign it anonymously. But yes, write your love a letter, whether it be familial or sexual or the idea of love or the person you've got a big fucking thumping crush on, you know? Write them a letter. And I'm not sure if it's getting read out or not. I've not been informed. Is it getting read out? Oh. That is so beautiful. Okay, if anyone didn't hear, someone else takes it home at the end of the night. Yes. So you're going to share your love with someone else in this room, and it probably won't be, the love letter will probably not be for them, but you're going to share that little fucking beautiful bit with them. Okay, so we're going 5-minute break. Have a quick poo. Get your things in. I'm all about that, that like Kellogg's, man, you know? All right, and we'll see you back in 5 minutes. Get a drink and have a smoke and have a wee. All right.
Very slow.